The approach data came in clean and cold, the way it always does when the math is already settled. 60 hulls in wedge formation, slate purple plating catching the local star's light at the edge of the sensor cone, and I sat at my relay station on the fleet's third-tier intelligence deck and watched the numbers resolve and thought, this will be over before the next meal cycle. I am Sovith Kale. I have served Varek Fleet Intelligence for 22 years. I have watched 11 border actions from exactly this distance. Close enough to read the telemetry, far enough to file the report afterward. I know what a routine debt collection crossing looks like. The Varek 63rd Frontier Detachment, acting on a standing commerce default judgment against the Human Administrative Zone designated HR-7 Peripheral, had every right under the Compact's Article 14 to cross the HR-7 boundary line and present their demand in person. The station on the other side had one posted watch officer and no defensive armament on record. This was not a battle. This was paperwork delivered at speed. Admiral Varek Khan transmitted the first hail at 0340 station relative, standard language, compact registered frequency. The station did not answer. He transmitted 9 more times across the next 40 minutes, spacing them as the protocol required. The station's beacon was live. Her life sign registry showed one human female, the single posted officer, designation, Woe First Son of Roth. The station's sensor array was active and tracking us. Every instrument we had confirmed she knew we were there. She simply did not respond. I noted in my log, subject station non-responsive. Presence confirmed, action pending. Khan transmitted the formal notice of compelled approach at 042E1, the legal instrument that precedes physical boarding. The station did not answer. He transmitted it twice more. At 0438 he ordered the formation to advance to boarding distance and held the pace to 1/3 thrust. Protocol requires to allow a final window for compliance. At 0441 the station opened a channel. I heard it on the intelligence deck before the bridge relayed it. A woman's voice. Unhurried. Baseline flat. The way humans speak when they are not particularly interested in the conversation. She said, Varek Fleet Element. This is Watch Officer Son of Roth, HR-7 Frontier Station Aurelian. I'm going to read you something. I'd appreciate it if you stayed on the channel. Khan looked at his first officer. His first officer looked at the channel indicator. Neither of them spoke. She read from a log. First entry was dated 11 years, 4 months, and 7 days prior. Varek Fleet Element, 43 vessels, 14 Commerce Default Crossing, HR-7 Peripheral Zone. Transmitting officer, Sub-Admiral Korath Vaughn. She read the approach vector to 4 decimal places. She read the broadcast power of Vaughn's formal notice of compelled approach. She read the hull registry numbers of the lead 3 cruisers. Then she read the outcome. I know what happened to Vaughn's formation. Everyone in the 63rd knows. It is not discussed at the rank I hold. The file is sealed above my clearance, and I have never seen the specifics. Only the administrative summary, which says the action was discontinued and the detachment withdrew. The summary does not say why. Watch Officer Vrath read the specifics. Not all of them. 7 entries in the sealed file she read 4. The flat tone a person uses when they are reading back a grocery inventory. Hull designations. Engagement durations. She did not use the word casualties. She used the phrase personnel accounting discrepancies, which is, I learned in that moment, what humans call it when they are being technical and not unkind. The bridge had gone quiet. I had my relay live, but I did not type. I listened. She moved to the second entry without pause. 9 years 1 month ago, Varek Compact Enforcement Action, HR-7 Corridor, 31 vessels. I did not know this one had happened at all. The formation had slowed to a near stop without Khan ordering it. I checked the navigation feed. We were holding at 60,000 kilometers, which is not boarding distance. Khan had not given a hold order. The helm had simply stopped advancing. She read that one more quickly. Shorter outcome. 12 entries in that sealed file. She read 3. Then she said, I have logs going back 26 years. I have read and annotated every approach to this boundary during my watch period. My watch period is 4 years, 2 months, and 11 days. The 2 incidents I've read you predate my posting. Pulled the files from the station archive on my first week. It seemed like the kind of thing a watch officer should know. Khan unmuted and said, Officer, You are in receipt of a compact registered debt instrument. And she said, I know. I read Article 14 this morning. I read it again about an hour ago, actually, when your formation crossed the marker. I find it more interesting every time. He stopped. I have never heard Admiral Varek can stop mid-legal sentence in 11 years of service, she said. Psst. I'm going to tell you what I think you should do, and then I'm going to close this channel. And I'm going to go back to what I was doing before you cross the line. I think you should take your formation home. I think you should log this approach as an administrative navigation exercise. Those records look fine, and no one will question them at your level. I think you should recommend to whoever holds the Article 14 instrument on HR 7 peripheral that they pursue the default judgment through the Compact's civil arbitration process, which is slower but structurally sounder, and does not require anyone to come out here. Think that's the better outcome, for everyone said. Watch officer, I am authorized under article, she said. I know what you're authorized. I've had this conversation before. And that was the line that made my hands stop over the relay keys. She had not been reading from a prepared document. She had been reading from an annotated log that she had built across 4 years and 2 months, and 11 days of sitting at a watch station alone, and she had just told us, without emphasis, that she had told another formation to go home before us. I typed one entry into my log. I looked at it for a moment and then deleted it because I could not think of the correct terminology, she said. Closing the channel now. My recommendation stands. Safe transit. The channel closed. Khan ordered a command consultation. It convened on the flag bridge and it lasted 4 hours and 11 minutes. I was not in the room. I sat at my relay station and watched the formation hold at 60,000 kilometers. And I reviewed what I knew about the HR 7 stations posted, Sinel, which was very little, and what I knew about Watch Officer Senna Vroth, which was less. Her service file, at the level I can access, lists a posting date, a classification tier, and one notation from her previous assignment, which I will not reproduce here because it is written in the clipped bureaucratic shorthand that Varek intelligence uses for human assessments, and I have never been fully comfortable with the taxonomy. It says, in translation approximately, performs at ceiling location unclear. At the end of the 4 hours and 11 minutes, Admiral Khan ordered the formation to withdraw at transit speed. He logged the action as an administrative navigation exercise. He recommended, in a sealed addendum I was not supposed to see and saw anyway, that the HR 7 peripheral debt instrument be routed to civil arbitration. We crossed back over the boundary at 11:09 station relative. Filed my report. It was 3 paragraphs, which is shorter than my reports usually are. I noted the timeline. I noted the channel exchange. I noted the formation's response. I did not speculate on the watch officer's annotation methodology or the depth of the station archive she had, apparently spent 4 years reading. Those seemed like details for a different department. What I have thought about since. What I am still thinking about. Here at my relay station in the quiet after a fleet of 60 vessels turned around, in deep space because one person on watch opened a channel and read from her notes, is the last entry in the log she did not read aloud. She told us she had read and annotated every approach to the boundary during her watch. The 2 incidents she read to us were from before her posting. She said she had pulled the archives on her first week because it seemed like something a watch officer should know. There are 11 years of archived files between those 2 incidents and the start of her watch period. I do not know how many approaches are in that archive. I do not know how many entries she annotated. I do not know what the last entry in her current watch log says, because she closed the channel before she got to it. I think about that last entry. I think about it the way I think about sealed files above my clearance, with the specific kind of attention you give to something that is almost certainly important and that you have been, very correctly, told is not your business. She moved once. She opened the channel. She read a few pages of notes. 60 hulls turned around. I keep my own log now. I have kept it since that day. I started it because KL Station's formation logs go back 30 years, and I realized, sitting at my relay station on the slow transit home, that I had never once read them. It seemed like the kind of thing an intelligence officer should know.